Welcome to If These Walls Could Talk, a series opening doors to the past. What if the buildings we pass by every day could tell us what they've seen? We are uncovering the hidden stories, secret spaces, and forgotten chapters inside some of Indiana's most fascinating buildings. To kick things off, we could think of no more fascinating place than the West Baden Springs Hotel. As you'll see, these walls have a lot to say. It can be easy to forget how far this landmark has come from the brink of disaster. At 120 years old, the hotel practically sings with joy to her guests. But not long ago, a whisper could have destroyed her.
These were very dark days. The engineers said this building is standing more from habit than for any other reason. It's just waiting for the right person to come along and restore it.
In the mid-90s, Bill Cook was that person, and now, for the first time, visitors can see what it took to rescue the hotel. Staff just discovered a hard drive stashed in someone's desk for decades.
And when I looked at the cover of it, I couldn't believe what it was.
Original photos of the restoration that haven't been seen in 30 years.
This is just an unbelievable find. We didn't know they existed.
And not just a few photos, 15,000 documenting the massive effort to renovate a relic. The earliest pictures from 1996
That's where we check in today. So the disrepair,
show this place was in real bad shape,
that's a tub from that wall fall.
a shell of its former self.
There were leaks, there were holes, there was water. Some of the floors disrepaired. There was no statues, no ornate stuff being taken care of. It was just concrete. Interior was not protected from the elements.
69 of the newly discovered pictures are now on display for the public, revealing not only the hotel's past lives, but also the hundreds of people, the locals, who put it back together.
People and the detail they're going into to bring a bridge back to life. And the blind faith that they had to come and scrape paint, scrape windows, do all this detailed cleanup work is just, it's moving.
It worked.
It did.
These snapshots rediscover that dramatic restoration.
Looking at the photos, you would have never expected it to turn out this way. They did absolutely everything right.
Documenting what many call the save of the century. Back in 2007, we were here for the grand reopening and took a tour as designers and construction crews finished up work on the restoration. 75 years after its last hotel guests checked out, new visitors were finally getting ready to check in.
This is the original hotel lobby. As you'll see here, this is the front desk. And then over here is the original vault for the hotel that we will use again as safety deposits.
The West Baden Springs Hotel and the nearby hotel in French Lick date all the way back to the Civil War. Our former colleague Chuck Lofton got a history lesson on how it all began.
Our lineage goes back to 1865 when they built that first iteration of the French Lick Springs Hotel. Then came down the road a mile and built the first iteration of what would become the West Baden Springs Hotel. This hotel in particular, what a history. It was up and going pretty strong in the late 1800s, then fire comes through and destroys everything. Lee Sinclair had his heart and soul in this and was ready to give it up. His daughter prevails upon him to rebuild. He said, all right, but if I do, I'm going to do something amazing. That's the amazing. To think this was built in 1901, but build it he did. It goes through a stint as a World War I Army hospital.
The hotel changes ownership once again. Then the Great Depression hits, and it ends up being sold to the Jesuits for $1.
Jesuits come in here, make it a seminary for about 30 years. Finally, they gave up. Northwood Institute comes in, runs a culinary program here. Northwood moves out, it sits vacant, starts to fall in on itself. That triggered emergency bills, and that's when the historic preservation people looked for somebody to come up with a couple $100,000 to stabilize that wall. Then they'd figure out the rest of it later. Well, they found the right guy in Bill Cook, and they walked out of that meeting with a pledge for a couple million.
Cook intended to fix up the property and sell it, but that didn't work out.
Nobody wanted to buy it. So then French Lick comes into the picture, combined with a casino over there to make this work as a co-joint property. Now we were in it hook, line, and sinker, $500 million, and to this day, we're owned by a biomedical device company named Cook, and we're pretty darn happy about that.
Especially the people who work here, who take ownership in the resort and its historic legacy.
They treat their employees well, our associates. So it's a pretty loyal staff that is dedicated to preserving this history, keeping this special place special, and moving it forward.
Coming up, handwritten messages hidden by travelers.
My dearest Rose, I have met someone.
From love letters to treasure hunts, the secrets discovered in the hotel library and the tradition guests still carry on today. Plus, a century-old mystery inside the dome. Climb up with us to the very top and explore the beauty of the Angel Room. There are secrets all throughout this building. Some live here in the library. Travelers are leaving items behind on these shelves to connect with each other and create lasting memories. So much history is tucked away at West Baden Springs.
He believes the same as I do, that this hotel is magic.
What stories they'd share if these walls could talk.
Oh, found another.
Turns out lately, they have.
February 25th, 2018, I'm going to marry someone.
December 26th.
I have had 2 nights with the love of my life. I love you, Jeff, more than you'll ever know. Love, Tracy.
Words of encouragement.
Learn all there is to know and make a true difference in your lifetime.
Messages of love.
My dearest Rose, I have met someone.
Hints of humor.
What's this? Why is it here? Someone else replied, I don't know.
Dozens of notes hidden in the pages of classic novels in the hotel library.
March 2016, randomly found this note in The Three Musketeers.
Employee Siobhan Morrison made the discovery by chance.
I was just here, kind of organizing stuff. I really wasn't expecting there to be like this conversation going on.
Amazing. It was an amazing find.
Travelers have been stashing notes in the reading room for the past 5 years.
We found this note. Maybe in 1,000 years, it will be some kind of ancient artifact.
Guests from across the country making connections with pen and paper.
And I just loved the fact that people just kept adding.
We were in the library and we thought that it would be fun to leave a note in one of our favorite books.
Kirsten and James first visited the hotel while attending IU. Later, this place and a secret note launched their love story.
He had switched out the note for a note that said, will you marry me on it?
The library is now full of memories like that one.
That must be a secret message just for them.
A lot of people feel like the West Baden is theirs. They're really invested in it. They think it's a magical place, you know, the history of it, the story behind it.
And in our modern world of tweet and text, a handwritten note is a hidden treasure, much like the hotel itself. We wanted to carry on the tradition too. So we wrote a note, put it in a book, and if you come down here to West Baden and find it, feel free to respond. It's been several years since we did that story. We did check through every book on the shelf, couldn't find our note, so clearly someone checked out our book, but there are plenty of notes for you to check out if you get here. Another hidden treasure here is truly a secret destination. Most people can't access it because it's dangerous to get there. 120 feet up in the dome. But a few years ago, we scaled the roof, and now we're taking you inside the Angel Room. There's a century-old mystery tucked into the trees of West Baden Springs. A beautiful secret right in the centerpiece of this historic hotel. When people walk in here, what do they do first thing?
Wow.
But this grand perspective from the ground isn't the whole story. Within those steel beams sits a room most guests don't even know exists.
The Angel Room.
And where is it?
Straight above your head, right above that disc.
The Angel Room isn't open to the public.
We'd love to let people up there, but it's not an easy climb.
But it is a journey.
Shall we go up?
Let's.
Okay. We got to explore.
The ladder to the roof.
From this perch, you can peer into the atrium
Overlooking the gardens.
and get a spectacular look at the property.
It's just magic to have seen the before, to be able to see the after and really appreciate it.
1 foot, 1 hand.
But back to the purpose of this trip and the part where, if you're afraid of heights,
This is slightly scary.
it's a serious challenge.
Well, at least you'll land on me if you fall backwards.
That's true.
Climbing an old metal ladder up and over the dome.
We are on the roof.
When the railing ends, ropes become the guide to the top.
How far up?
Oh, we're about 120 feet.
Right among the gargoyles and stunning views of the valley. And right there, within the center of the dome, a metal ladder descends into the angel room. Wow. It's a small space with a creaky wooden floor over 100 years old, pierced by light from the atrium below. But then there's the beauty. 8 panels of floor-to-ceiling murals, cherubs floating on clouds, angels playing musical instruments, a few marred with graffiti and faded by time.
Because they're on metal, we really just don't even want to touch them.
What's most fascinating is nobody knows how the angels got here or who painted them.
A mystery shrouded in our history.
There are several suspects, perhaps Italian artisans near the turn of the century.
You know, you had 500 craftsmen working here 24/7 to build this thing in 1901. So there's any number of suspects that could have emerged from that.
Another theory, craftsmen with the Cassini Tile Company who created the atrium floor during the 1917 renovation. It could have been artistic soldiers when the hotel became a hospital during World War I. Or even circus painters in the 1920s when the atrium hosted big top performances. After more than a century, it's still all speculation.
Mrs. Cook has researched it extensively and hasn't been able to pin down an answer.
Of course, not being able to solve the secret may just add to the enchantment of this place. Guardian angels with a hidden history looking down on an Indiana treasure. Still ahead. Baseball-sized hail damages the dome. See a 21st century fix that repaired a catastrophic hit to the 8th wonder of the world. Believe it or not, I scaled the dome here twice. The second time to discover how they had to repair it to historic perfection after a hailstorm. Find me a roof in Indiana with more history that's endured more struggle and returned more stunning than the West Baden Springs Hotel. Its iconic dome, brought back from near ruin, is a survivor, standing strong for more than a century.
8th wonder of the world. That's all I can say. I mean, it is the 8th wonder of the world back in its day.
But that architectural marvel atop this National Historic Landmark met its match last summer.
I've never seen anything like it.
On June 25th, the skies of Orange County went from calm
You're talking hail that was bigger than my fist.
to chaos.
And all you heard was shattering glass.
Taking a catastrophic hit in a hailstorm.
The first thing was, oh my gosh, is everyone okay?
They were, but that famous dome sustained serious damage. Every single pane of glass, 77 in each of the 12 panels, punctured, 924 total.
They were all damaged. There wasn't one that survived.
It wasn't just the glass. Tiles, shingles, metal cupolas hurt too. Millions of dollars in damage. Dings and dents destroyed 90-some roofs across the French Lick Resort property.
You can see that one there took pretty extensive damage. That one took some pretty good hits.
But the most prominent needed the most immediate attention. They closed the atrium to guests right away, and a contractor got to work on restoring history yet again.
And he said to me, he said, when do you ever get to work on a structure like this? He said, we want this.
For the past 9 months, crews have been bringing it back to life. On top of the dome,
It's not your normal roof job, let's put it like that. I mean, it's totally different.
replacing the glass was the biggest challenge. They had to come up with a 21st century fix for 120-year-old materials.
Well, we looked at hurricane glass. That was one of the things. We looked at the original glass.
They settled on something called Lexan. These new panels aren't glass at all, but made from a thermoplastic polymer. It's shatter resistant, hail bounces right off.
It's 250 times stronger than the glass. So it should be able to take a once in 100-year storm, hopefully.
But the actual work,
it's been a job,
wasn't easy. This really has been a painstaking process. Crews couldn't use much machinery. They really had to carry all the materials and supplies up the scaffolding over the roof by hand. Then once they got up here, they had to hook onto a chain and a rope and scale down the dome to place all of the glass and shingles. Just watch, crews on their stomachs tethered to the dome 130 feet in the air, pulling off the damaged panels one by one, leaving gaping holes straight down into the atrium. Good luck if you're afraid of heights. Perched precariously, these guys spent months putting all these panes back in place. You can see the clear difference between old and new. Up here, you can also see where hail left its mark. The shingle work's nearly complete. They're now about to replace clay tiles on this membrane. Most of what was damaged was original to 1902 and has to be attached carefully.
Would go like something similar to this, and this is where it'd kind of start.
And check this out, the original glass you can now keep. The resort is selling coasters made out of what fell in the hailstorm. Some panels from the 1997 renovation, others even older.
Hexagon piece, see that? That is 1902. That's original.
For more than 100 years, part of the magic of this place is its ability to come back from catastrophe. They've done it before, and now
It's been really a labor of love to put it back together.
it's being reborn again. This Indiana landmark became a National Historic Landmark in 1987, and people who've stayed here over the years, especially before the renovation, said the walls maybe really did talk, ghosts from the past. That inspired a movie shot right here at the hotel. What better place to share a ghost story about secrets unearthed from the past than French Lick and West Baden Springs?
The first time I saw that hotel, I was about 8 years old.
It's where history and mystery rise from the trees.
And the hotel was still a ruin at that point. It was very creepy. You know, it had that sort of haunted vibe.
A gold mine for novelist and Bloomington native Michael Carita.
The juxtaposition of the past and the present that exists in most communities does not really exist here, in my opinion. The past is just always here. The past seems to live within the present. And that is inherently a ghost story to me.
And now that ghost story from Carita's best-selling book is going to the big screen.
Certain stories, they just refuse to die.
A film by Pegasus Pictures, set and shot entirely in Orange County with a team of Hoosiers behind it. The highest scale movie made in Indiana in decades.
People will always tell you that you can't do things in Indiana. And I love that this group came together and said, no, we're going to figure out a way and make it a product of the place.
So Cold the River is a supernatural thriller starring Bethany Joy Lentz from Dexter and One Tree Hill.
You're making a documentary about the hotel?
I wouldn't really use that word to describe it. It's more of a character profile.
It's about a documentary filmmaker investigating the dark secrets of a dying millionaire from West Baden.
And the only tangible clue she has to his childhood is a single bottle of Pluto water.
Yes, that Pluto water, the curer of ills from mineral springs with a devil for a mascot. It's one of the many local references Hoosiers will recognize. Hoosiers are in it too, local residents cast as extras.
It was exciting, I loved it.
You'll even see Justin Harris, the resort's facility director, in the trailer.
So Cold the River trailer.
At least if you look real close.
Right there. Oh, gotta go back.
Real quick.
There.
I think I saw you.
Pause, pause. It's so short, so difficult to catch. There it is. Look at that. That's me. Would you like my autograph?
I would like your autograph.
I'm not charging at the moment, but once I, superstar.
The real star of the film might just be the hotel itself.
The hotel is my favorite character. It's very special. As a novelist, it was special. And then on film, I thought it was just, it's extraordinary.
This wasn't just shot here in the atrium. The hotel has actually preserved a room used in the film. You can see it right up there, and you can stay there overnight. if you dare.
Do you have the key cards?
I do. Room 4626, dubbed the movie room, was redecorated by set designers for full frightening effect. And apparently it worked. Some guests who've stayed here since got scared, requested to be moved after just one night.
The dream of anyone who sits down to write something creepy is that you're going to cost someone at least an hour of sleep. To know that I might have cost someone a whole night, that is just glorious to hear.
The highest of praise.
The highest of praise, yes.
For Corita, this place, his novel, and now the film represent a full circle moment.
Hello? Someone in here?
Sharing a Hoosier horror thriller made in and inspired by an Indiana landmark.
It's very exciting to know that we're going to put it out to the world now, but that it was born here and shot here, and hopefully it brings people in, too.
Up next, restoring a spiritual sanctuary, the West Baden Church with a rich history saved by volunteers. It's not just the hotels in this area that have unique stories inside. This church has quite a story of its own, preserving an important legacy of African American history in the community. In a community known for bringing Hoosier treasures back from the brink of ruin, there's another renewal underway with a rich history all its own.
It's a beacon of light, was then and will be again.
Just across the highway from the West Baden Springs Hotel, at the corner of Elm and Sinclair, volunteers are preserving African American heritage in Orange County.
First Baptist Colored Church of West Baden Springs, Indiana. This is the last structure and the only structure left of the black community from that era, from Jim Crow.
At the turn of the 20th century, in the midst of segregation, West Baden hotel owner Lee Sinclair recruited black employees for the famed resort. He sold his workforce this land for $1 to create a spiritual sanctuary.
And he wanted to make sure his workers, bellhops, maids, had a place to worship. And so thus, First Baptist Colored Church was built.
It became a thriving center for religion and culture, helped people in need regardless of race. But when the hotel declined, so did the congregation. The church sat dormant for decades and was named one of Indiana's most endangered landmarks. That's when a group of faith leaders from Bloomington decided to save it, buying the church from the town council for $1. But the $250,000 restoration was daunting.
You could stand in the center of the church and you could see outside from any direction.
The siding was falling apart, the animals, the dust. You could see the rafters where they had the fire and it was burnt. It was just really like, how in the world are we going to get this back?
They've done it with community donations and volunteers, mostly skilled retirees, stripping the building down, straightening bowed walls, rebuilding floors, doors, and windows, saving the original pews.
My proudest thing, I love the ceiling. It is absolutely gorgeous.
And they faithfully came twice a week, every Wednesday and Friday, on their own time and their own dime to restore this church. I don't think we had anybody say no or I can't. There are times we come here and there's money stuck in the door.
Now, after 4 years and a pandemic delay, the project is 95% complete.
And so it's probably been 8 months or a little longer since we've been down here to do any work. But coming in today, just really, I just shake my head in amazement and thank God for the progress that we've been able to make and look forward to getting it completed, because it's been a long time coming.
Mitchell's also tracked down descendants of the original congregation, educators, musicians, and business owners from all across the country. They'll be at the rededication service to celebrate their ancestors' legacy.
I have been here and sat here by myself and just thought about the people who were here that are no longer alive. And when you think about that, you kind of get emotional of what they went through. So you think of all the struggles that they went through, and then out of their struggles, they found success.
Just as volunteers have done now, reviving an Indiana landmark.
Turn the keys over and say, look what we were able to accomplish. Praise the Lord.
Amen. Let's go. Yeah!
And they did it. Take a look. The church, once endangered, is now renewed thanks to those volunteers. This was the official rededication of the building after years of restoration. Thanks so much for watching and rediscovering all the wonderful stories of this beautiful building. And if you have places that you think we should visit, let us know. Secret spaces, hidden history, cool landmarks with cool stories. We would love to check them out. Because if you slow down and listen, the walls do talk.